Well,
So
yeah,
you're gonna
today we're
start
gonna
us.
discuss.
You're gonna start us off, man.
Yeah, I'll start us off. So there's a bunch of things we're gonna talk about today. Kind of each week looked into a little bit of everything. Um, I was looking at ETH 2.0, where we're gonna be discussing running a validator or your own node and staking because that's coming up on December 1st. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go to share my screen and where the hell is it? There. So if you guys can see that, okay. Can you guys see that? All right.
Yeah, see it.
Yeah. All right. So basically, uh, ETH is going to be Ethereum is going to be going from proof of work to proof of stake, meaning that you know basically anybody can go and run their computer to stake and earn Ethereum. So December 1st is the launch date, and as you can see here, you have 93,216 ETH already being staked. But the network won't actually launch until you have the full 524,288. Okay. If it does not meet that requirements by December 1st, it'll be postponed a week. Right. Now, the thing about this too is once you lock your ETH, it's locked basically till I think version 1.5. But as you can see here, this is the staking rewards, right? So basically, as we discussed in the last podcast, when you have a certain amount staked or a certain amount of nodes or validator staking, the least amount that you have, the greater your interest rate you're going to get, and you're going to earn ETH. You're not earning cash, you're earning Ethereum while as you're staking it. Now, if you look here, right, you get 500. This is, I think, the minimum right here, 524,000. You're earning 21.6% Ethereum running a node. The only thing about running a node is it's kind of involved, meaning that you have to basically be paying attention to it all the time. You understand? So if your computer shuts off, you lose power. Like right now, we got some like hurricane type weather going on right now. It's pretty crazy. All of a sudden, I lose power, I lose my internet connection. Now I'm in trouble. Why? Because you're instead of you actually gaining rewards, you're penalized for not running a node. You know what I'm saying? You guys have any questions about this stuff?
I'm keeping up so far.
Okay. So basically, if you look here, and the more that you're staking, you can see the interest rate is changing here. So let's say you got about 6 million staked here, you're getting 6.4% interest, and then it goes all the way. Looks like 4.9, and I'm sure it even gets lower as the curve goes through. So again, you with this, it looks like it's pretty cool. It looks very involved because I'm looking up some of the stuff. Basically, you need recommended computer requirements is a Windows, Mac, Linux, 64-bit. You need a specific type of processor, so an Intel Core i7 4770 or AMD FX 8310 or better. You're going to need at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, 100 gigabytes of storage space, and you need at least a 10 megabit internet connection. And also, it's probably good to have a UPS, uninterruptible power supply. So if for any reason you get like a quick, like you lose power fast, and let's just say you're not using a laptop and there's no battery, and you lose power, you don't want to disconnect from the, you know, your connection, because if you do that, your invalidator is going to go down, and then now if you're not up and looking at it, all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, I'm getting penalized. So instead of you having your 32 ETH, which is necessary to stake, you're losing out of that 32 ETH, right? Now, when it first starts, I was reading that you're basically, when you're penalized, you're not penalized one for one. I forgot what the actual thing was going to be at. So, that's not so bad because, when it starts, is obviously going to be hiccups and stuff like that. But once you go ahead and you lock up your ETH, you're not getting it back, at least until I think it's phase 1.5 or something like that. So let me go down here and see if it shows up. Yeah, so if you look here, phase 1.5, that's when you actually be able to withdraw your ETH. So you're going to deposit your ETH into an address. You have to start an Ethereum version 1.0 node. So basically, you got to run a node on Ethereum. Then you're going to have to get your ETH. So once you have your ETH, you're going to basically go on. It's very complicated. And like I said, I'm going to list some links in the description below. There's a bunch of websites that I was looking at. Like I said, I'm not going to sit there and say that I know everything about this because it's a lot involved. So basically, you're going to generate 2 keys from what I was gathering. There was like a remote key, I guess. So if for any reason you move your computer or you need a different computer, you could still stake, without being penalized. And then there's a withdrawal key. So the withdrawal key will be used once you get to this phase 1.5, right? So at that point, you know how Ethereum was, right? Like they said, oh, we're coming to 2.0. Like how long was it delayed for?
I forget.
I mean, right? Every time it was like, oh, next month. Next thing you know, 2 years, 3 years later, like, oh, now it's here. So you don't know how long it's going to be actually locked up for. So what I'm getting at now is once people start staking and locking up the ETH, you're going to basically have a shortage, or like, you're not going to have as many on the exchange, which could drive the prices up like crazy. Plus, people are going to start going around and, looking to, buy more so they can get that node because maybe they don't have the 32. So you need 32. So I don't know what the price is right now for that. I know that ETH dropped, so I'm assuming it's around 14, 15,000, give or take, to actually, if you have nothing to start a node, to buy the ETH. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting for what's going on. You know what I mean? You guys have any questions about this stuff?
No.
I guess I'm wondering, the ETH is going to get locked up. I looked at a few things around this. I'm not particularly interested personally in staking. I'm interested in the tech. I'm just not going to actually do it, I don't think.
Yeah.
But as far as locking it up, I understand you won't be able to access your 32 Ethereum. But is there someone else custodying that, or is it still under your control? It's just kind of locked in the network.
It's basically under your control, but the thing is, it's really not, because even though you have your private keys for it, you can't touch that or withdraw that until you actually get to that version 1.5. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a good time where it's untouchable. I mean, and you just have to basically watch your computer every day. And there was another thing I was looking at too, basically, where it figures out what your uptime is, like if 99%, and what your rewards are going to be and stuff like that, especially if you look at how many people are actually running validators. So like I said, this is all going to be new. It's coming in 2 weeks, and we're obviously not there yet, because if you look at this number here, it's going up every day. But this looks like what, about 18%, something like that. So they're not even close to being there yet. Maybe even less than.
I'm wondering if that number is going to spike like the day before or something, Also, I could see, it seems to me a lot of uncertainty and potentially risk around this. And
what's going to happen with all this, Yeah.
And I did read some disclaimers that said, like, basically, if you stake at your own risk, like, they're not responsible for anything that happens, even if the network fails.
What was that?
I saw some disclaimer in a little bit of research I did. Can you hear me?
I think we lost him. He might have had the hurricane blow his house down. You there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you.
Okay. what was I saying? Oh, I saw some disclaimers and a little bit of research I did that says even if the network fails, you kind of, I guess like anything in crypto, if you lose your funds, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
that's for most people, I think $15,000 or so in Ethereum right now. It's like, do I really want to take that risk? You know,
yeah.
I could understand people's hesitation. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Right. Right. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think it's going to be great, and I think that the price is going to drive up. I mean, if you're looking as an investor and forget even just the technology and earning stuff like that, that's going to be something to really look at. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely affects the
So
supply in the markets, so to speak. In theory.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, I'm keeping my eye on it. I'm probably going to do it. It's just, you probably need your own dedicated computer for that, just for that maybe, because you don't want maybe stuff freezing up or any kind of mistakes happening, especially with something that, that's for some people, that's a, good chunk of change. I mean, obviously if you got in for less. And then also there's another thing too, is like, you can't run like 33 or 40, it's 32. And then another node would be, you have to have another 32. So, and I don't know if you need separate computers to run separate nodes. I think that what they're trying to do is to make it decentralized. And so is to have it where, you need one computer to run, I mean, I've seen too, you can get cloud, like, I don't know, like run a cloud and pay for cloud service and basically have that take care of you. So like say you pay a monthly fee to keep that, and then they can do it for you. So you have it on a cloud, they're doing it for you. They can't do anything with it in the sense of like they can't steal from you, because as long as you have those keys, they're not going to be able to steal anything from you. But if say for instance you're kind of concerned about you losing power, your internet going down, whatever, you have a kid and all of a sudden your kid starts touching your computer, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So that's something else that you could look into. But again, now you're going to pay for some cloud service and $40 a month, I guess, depending upon how much that's going to be with how many nodes you're going to run or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, what's
Yeah,
the price right
in
now?
that sense, it kind of almost reminds me of Bitcoin mining, the way it's set up. It seems like to me like you would have to treat it as a business. This wouldn't be like a hobby kind of small scale thing you would do. You'd have to take it very seriously, and potentially there would be a monthly investment in
Yeah,
cloud services and other expenses,
right. So that's definitely something that you got to look into. But I think mining is a lot more involved. First of all, the energy part of it, that's a big thing. I know obviously it's gonna run electric because you're still running a computer, but it's not gonna be like anywhere near where you're running like some ASIC miner or something like that and having like a full, garage full of them. So, and it's not gonna be that bad, But again, I'll probably wait a week to see kind of what other people are doing and get a better idea of what's going on, and then maybe do it. Because but then again, if you're the first person to do it, right, you get that 24%, especially if there's not that many people running validators in the beginning. So if you get in there first, you can get some really good interest rates on it. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
what if you're first? You mean that stays for the life of that node?
well, basically it's everything that goes there, right? So what you're saying is that it stays there basically until you can withdraw it, which only can happen once it gets to that 1.5 version. So as they're upgrading this stuff, it might be 2 years before you can actually even touch that crypto. You know what I'm saying?
And when do you start earning? Right when it hits that
Right
half a
away.
million, whatever.
No, right when the whole thing is met. So December 1st, if that like I think like I was showing you is like 93,000. When the 524,000 is met on December 1st, it starts then. If it's not met, it's delayed a week.
Okay, then you
So
start earning that interest rate right away.
yeah. So right away you're getting that interest rate.
It's
So
just locked until the next version comes out.
yeah, and that could be a while.
Yeah.
That's like again, how long was it where they're saying they're going to come out with E 2.0?
Right.
And it's compared to like other cryptos. Like I have ADA the Cardano blockchain, and I'm staking on that. And I run my crypto in a stake pool, and I'm constantly earning, and I don't have to manage it. I log in once a week. I check my wallet, and I go, oh, I have more crypto. So that, you know, it depends. Now, I think there's going to be stake pools for Ethereum, right? So you can probably put it on some sort of maybe Coinbase is going to have it. Well, they're going to, you can keep it on there and they do it for you. But knowing Coinbase, they're going to charge you a premium to do that. Because I think they were doing that with Tezos, right?
Well, Coinbase is charging you a fee for everything you do. So yeah, I would imagine, yes.
Coinbase is like just,
I know
robbing everybody.
Binance has been pretty good about different staking. Like even just holding BNB for transaction fees, I was getting Swipe SXP.
Yeah.
I think that promotion just ended, but there was always, I'd sign in and I'd see these little random scraps of coins and stuff. So Binance has been good in the past, at least, about things like that.
Right. So I would say maybe you're somebody that doesn't trust yourself in actually doing it right or whatever. Maybe you're best waiting for a stake pool. Or there's some people that don't have 32 Ethereum. Maybe you got 10 and then that's all you got, and then you could at least stake your 10 on a stake pool and at least be earning something on it versus it just sitting in like a wallet,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best part is just being able to earn passive income, I mean, passive income is great. And if at some point it gets to a really high value, maybe you can live off that.
I guess that's where I'm at as far as going into the Ethereum staking, whereas in DeFi, I could already earn passive income with my ETH right now. So,
yeah.
And I have the freedom, the click of a button to just move that Ethereum around at will, at any time of the day.
Right. So do you want to get into, basically what you're using and what you found and what you've experienced using that?
Yeah. So I guess, the story goes is, this year I made the switch mentally as far as from dollars to Bitcoin. So I had a nice size savings in cash that I was just dollar cost averaging every day. And obviously all this DeFi revolution kind of started hitting this summer. And I wasn't really giving too much attention to it. But I think it was in early September, things were really kind of popping off. And just it kept coming across my screen more and more where I finally just took the time to just check it out, keep an open mind, especially as more of like a Bitcoin maxi type of guy.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm like class of 2013, so most of us are kind of more maxis. But I've always been excited about Ethereum, and then now with this DeFi stuff, who is that guy? Andre Cronje or something? What's his name? Let me just look him up on Twitter real quick.
Now, which
Andre Cronje. This guy is like a beast in the DeFi space. He kind of made his own DeFi platforms that he was using for himself personally, and he just made them public. And the popular one with him is Yearn Finance. You guys must have heard that term.
Yearn, is that
when it came out, he even said like this token is meant to be nothing. It's meant to be worthless.
Yeah, it's the YFI token. YFI.
okay? That was the one that was like, how much is that? Like 15? No, it was like $60,000 or some crazy.
Went up to 42,000, I think, and then crashed all the way back down under 10K.
I remember seeing it trading for like 3 point something Bitcoin, and I got confused because I was thinking it was dollars. It was actually in multiples of Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To back it up a little bit, the big thing was Uniswap, right? Mm-hmm. Have you guys played with Uniswap at all?
I have not. I heard a little bit about it though.
So Uniswap, a group of guys put a lot of time into creating Uniswap. It's a very easy way to swap your Ethereum ERC20 tokens with any other ERC20 token. Just by, let me show you right now. I guess I could screen share Uniswap. Let me see. Launch app. Okay.
And how long have you been using this for?
Since September.
September? Okay.
But yeah, let me share the screen here. All right, so you see this literally what connect a wallet. I'll connect to my Coinbase wallet, just like see how fast it was to connect that wallet.
Yeah, I'm not
um,
seeing your wallet right now though.
in the top right, you see this. There's like one Ethereum in there. Do you see
No,
that?
we just see the
Oh,
background of
balance.
your computer right now.
You still see the background of my computer?
Yeah,
Let me see.
there we
There it
go.
is.
Stop
Oh,
share.
we had it for a second.
You had it for a second. Okay, hold on. Where
So you've been using it since September. Have you run into any problems with it?
Oh, here. No problems whatsoever. It's been completely flawless, which is awesome.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at a balance of 1 ETH.
Yeah, balance of 1 ETH. So I
Okay.
mean, all you do is really just select a token, whatever you want to change it for.
Was that wrapped Bitcoin right there?
Yeah, you could change it for wrapped Bitcoin.
Huh.
You could even like see these ones at the bottom here. These
Yeah.
ones that like I went on CoinGecko.com to find basically what the Ethereum name was of that token, and you could add the different tokens on here manually
So
if they don't pop up.
So these are all ERC20 tokens right now.
These are all ERC20 tokens. Yeah.
Okay, so like somebody likes Chainlink or
But they also have all the DeFi governance tokens on here too, because pretty much all DeFi has been built atop of Ethereum.
okay,
So I mean, I guess they are ERC20 tokens by default.
right,
But you'll see like this Curve token. Curve is one of the most popular DeFi platforms that are out there. But what's really attractive about Yearn and that guy Andre that I was telling you about, he basically developed a platform which searches all DeFi platforms that exist that are like legit, and it will automatically move the coins to the most profitable DeFi platform for that specific coin. I mainly use the vaults, so connect wallet, and these are all the different vaults that they have. And you could see like this one has a 20%
wow.
return, 14, 16,
Now,
6. The one I
I
usually experiment with was with DAI.
right
So,
because it's dollars.
and in early September, this number was like 60 to 70%. It was like
70.
it was too high to ignore anymore, and that's what really got me sucked in. It was just like 70%. Like, come on, like DAI is a stable coin that I was able to buy on Gemini or Gemini.
Right.
Because I had this cash savings that I was dollar cost averaging every day, and it's just in the bank account doing nothing. So I'm like, why don't I just take that cash stack, change it
Right.
for DAI, throw it in a vault that's earning whatever, freaking 60, 70%, and just keep dollar cost averaging, you know? So when it was 70%, that's kind of was like, all right, let's throw some money in there. And then just the ease of, I click deposit, or it's just stupidly easy and user friendly to do all this stuff.
Right.
Is the gist of it. But it could get crazier. Or this is another one that I like. This is called Fulcrum.
I've heard of that somewhere.
Fulcrum's interesting because they also have trading on the platform
Uh-huh.
where you could easily just long or short Ethereum against DAI. And you could just, with a click of a button, very easily just choose your leverage. But at the same time, you could also lend on here. And I'm currently lending. There's some DAI on here right now.
Yeah.
It's earning like 8.9%.
You can just see your money just going up instantly. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, some sites offer that like instant boost that they show you what you're earning, which good or bad. I mean, I've spent some time just staring at that, and that's not good.
Yeah, but now if you look at like Link, you can get now if you do Link, let's say for instance down there.
Yeah, so Link and Ethereum, like those, for example, like boom, you could start earning on those right now. Just
And
like,
you're earning actual Ethereum.
yes,
Link.
you earn the coin that you're lending.
Now how do they or how is this money being generated?
So
Like,
let's go to stats, which is kind of cool because it tells you straight off the bat everything that's going on as far as what's in the vault. So you'll see the total like USD value in the vault is like 13.5 million. The total supply is 9.5 million. And if we just look at like DAI right here, so to borrow this right now, they charge 19%. So that's kind of where you're getting the profit from.
right. And who's taking out loans at 19%?
So if you heard of these yield farmers out there, they'll literally make, I don't know, a lot, like over 100% in different farming as far as like taking what they're lending and then lending it somewhere else. It gets kind of complicated, but
I think I know what you're saying. Basically, like, I borrow $10 from you, right? And you're charging me $1 from that $10, 10%, and then I loan it to Jeff.
yeah,
I loan him $10, but I charge him $12, or $2 more. So now I'm making $1 profit for loaning out,
exactly. So they're just,
What that sounds like to me is almost like the fractional reserve banking system, except
yeah,
we get to take
except
advantage of it now.
we get to do it.
It's freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that idea. You could get burned. You could be on the wrong end of that, but
You could get
I want the
burned.
freedom to choose to use these tools too,
Right.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason the smart contract gets compromised in any way, then yeah, you could lose all your shit. But I haven't heard of any major events such as that take place yet.
See, I've heard of some. I don't know specifically with that, but there are some times where people find errors in the smart contracts, and then that becomes problematic because now they find a flaw, and next thing the person that didn't even realize it loses everything, and that's obviously a problem with the Ethereum too, because there's a lot of people that talk about that because they sometimes the Bitcoin maximalist. They say that all the time, like where they're like, oh, we don't really know. They're supposed to say like there's supposed to be a certain amount of Ethereum out there, but there's rumors that they don't really know how much is out there, which goes back to like, is this getting into a Federal Reserve type situation? Like $1. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know,
The
but
stable coins, I think that's something I'd like to put something together about one of these days.
well, that's where MakerDAO comes into play. Because I've heard of MakerDAO for at least 2 years or so, and I just wasn't looking into it. And finally, I looked into it, and it's freaking awesome. It's like, why the hell would I hold any cash whatsoever when I could hold DAI, which is backed by Ethereum? It's actually something hard, a hard dollar equivalent that you could use right now. So I'll show you my account, I guess. Borrow DAI, connect wallet. Again, just everything's so easy and flawless. So here is a vault. There's no Ethereum in there. With a liquidation price of 352, which obviously I monitor.
Yeah. Now, if it's getting close to that, which what are we at now? 440, 445?
Yeah.
At what point are you kind of do you have something set up where at like 400 you're getting text sent to your phone saying, hey, time to pull your do you pull everything out? It's like, do you have a sort of plan in case you see something start to go down like that?
Yeah, definitely. So if I go to my DAI chart, basically this dotted yellow line is my liquidation price, but I'm gonna get alerts for.
I don't think we're seeing what you're looking at, man.
Oh, you're not seeing it. What do you see right now?
See your ETH vault.
Yeah.
You see my ETH vault. Damn. Oh, okay. I got you.
There we are.
It's better. Yeah, so this is the liquidation price down here, this yellow dotted line, and I'll have alerts all the way down. So the other thing is that you could deposit more Ethereum if you want to,
Right.
just to keep, and you'll decrease that liquidation price, or you could pay back some DAI, and then that'll bring down your liquidation price. So you just kind of play with the the collateralization ratio, keep that at a comfortable level. And MakerDAO actually gives you a warning if it's under 200%, and 150% is the maximum that you can go. So it won't even allow you to set up something that's under 150%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once you do that, you deposit your ETH, then you could generate DAI, and then
Right.
use the DAI to buy more Ethereum if you're on a bull run, to kind of margin your leverage your bet, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just stick it in a vault, like on Fulcrum or on Yearn, and
Make even more interest.
just get some lunch money for the day, you know.
Yeah. Now, is that interest? Now, what is when you have to pay that back? What's the fee for paying it back? Let's say you took out that loan
Yeah.
of DAI.
So MakerDAO has this for Ethereum. They have a 2% stability fee that you can see right here. So basically, if I'm doing the vault on DAI, which is at 10.85, you just subtract
Right.
the 2%, so you're really making 8.85.
Wow.
So, but
That's crazy. That's
8.85, like, why not just take the equity out of my house and just freaking throw it in there? But
yeah.
it's just, you got to be confident with what you're doing. And I think these last few months of just moving Ethereum around and onto all different types of DeFi platforms, it's been very comfortable and very smooth, and it's just been awesome. And if we look at DeFiPulse.com, this is kind of like one of the coin market cap of DeFi. It'll show you this chart right here, which goes back to just August. Let me go to 1 year. You'll see the growth that
Wow.
DeFi has had in this last year. We were like a year ago, we were at like 660 million.
Right.
Now we have like close to 14 billion. So that's like crazy growth.
Yeah. And now that's all locked up Ethereum in that?
Yeah, so that's another thing, is what you would like as an Ethereum guy. Total value locked USD is 13.47 billion.
Right.
So that's pretty much Ethereum.
So that's goes back to also with the new Ethereum 2.0, where now you have all these people locked up in DeFi, and now you have people locked up under running nodes. I mean, you're gonna have there's a possibility of a lot of scarcity for Ethereum on the market, and that might really drive the price, up, or it's definitely might be undervalued if things
I
are going the
mean,
way.
this is why I have there's Ethereum and there's no Ethereum, like
Yeah,
this is because I'm just so excited about DeFi.
yeah,
I think it's a great opportunity to make some passive income right now,
right,
especially if we have a long-term mindset already. Like, I'm already thinking about 2024, and what to expect by then. And I don't plan on really selling anything before then. And DeFiPulse.com here, they rank kind of like the sites of what's locked up. So Uniswap being the big player on the block, they have 2.9 billion. MakerDAO has 2.25 billion.
yeah,
The Wrapped Bitcoin has almost 2 billion. And then down here are kind of like all the DeFi. So you see how it says decentralized exchanges, lending, assets, lending. Kind of segregates the different type of platform it is. Compound and Aave are two very, very popular ones. Just the interest rates, the return on those are smaller compared to what I've seen on like Curve or Yearn. I even played around with Cream a little bit. Basically,
what
what
about
happened
sushi?
with all, and I don't know, maybe you guys are wondering like why all these things popped up with Sushi Swap and
Yeah.
There's just so many of them. Basically, they're literal copies of Uniswap.
Right.
They just copied them. So
That's crazy.
take that for what you will. Some people are kind of upset at the fact that you just copy and take
Well,
Uniswap's work that they've worked on, and
yeah.
now you just make a copy and bang, you could start setting up your own thing. But
I mean, is
it's
that
the
any
free
different
market,
than?
man. It's the free
Yeah.
market,
market.
right? So in the digital world, if you're going to make something like that, if someone can make a copy, that's the risk.
Right. I mean, you could do that with Bitcoin. You could run your own Bitcoin. They call it fucking super Bitcoin,
Yeah,
but it's the same thing.
but the first mover advantage is still there, right?
Right.
Uniswap is
100%.
still the #1 guy, and I mean, if I had to swap something right now, but if I had to swap Ethereum for DAI, I would use Uniswap. That's
And
where
what
I
does Uniswap cost right now for if you actually want to invest in the crypto?
So the other cool part about Uniswap is that you don't have to just swap. You could create the pool. You could add liquidity to the pool. So you just need to set an equivalent amount of Ethereum and DAI or whatever 2 coins that you have that
Right.
are interchangeable. You could throw them in the pool and collect a return off that. So you are the exchange now.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm looking here. I mean, the price is
do you see my screen? You see
Yeah.
my
yeah.
sub screen? So add liquidity. I don't have anything but Ethereum right now, but
You could swap it out for whatever. Now, what do they charge you? Gas fees?
well, that's not they charge you. The network charges you the gas fee, right?
Right.
But if you have MetaMask on your computer, you could just go to fgasstation.com to check what the fast GUI price
Okay.
is, and you can kind of do that. So on MetaMask, you can manually adjust your GUI transfer fee for the gas.
Yeah.
But that's all you do is just yeah, every time you move stuff around in DeFi, you're going to get hit with a gas fee. And I mean, it would be nice if it was a few dollars each time, but it's usually like $10 to sometimes more, you know?
Right. I guess it depends on how many people are actually using it at the time.
Exactly. What else? What else?
And it looks
I
like about 1 billion swap. So
but basically,
that's weird. So it says a circulating.
yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to be the exchange, right? This is where the game really freaking changes. A little guy could be the exchange now.
Right. Now,
Um,
if you own Uniswap, can you actually make money by collecting fees through switching out these cryptos or
I mean, it's a decentralized exchange. So what Uniswap did later, after all these other DeFi platforms issued governance tokens, is they issued one too.
uh-huh.
So what the governance tokens allow you to do is basically take votes on changing different things in the protocol.
Okay. But you can't earn like money for people swapping things or anything like that.
No, only the liquidity providers, I believe. Well, actually,
I guess what
I
we could always look into that one.
yeah, you might have to double check, but the whole thing is basically whatever percentage of the liquidity that you're providing to the pool, you get that percentage of the transaction fee.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty cool. It's definitely pretty involved. Like, cause looking at that, and now let's just say you've been doing it for some, a couple months,
yeah.
so you kind of getting a little more familiar. But I look at that and I go, wow, that's a lot.
Really? Someone's just so excited about staking and all that with setting up whatever node.
Right.
I don't have to do any of that. I
Yeah,
literally
it seems a
just
little less involved. At
click a
least
few
for
buttons.
right. So I definitely I'm gonna have to look into that.
And I don't need a computer running or worry about losing power or anything like that. Like,
Yeah. No, that's definitely a nice thing. And like I said, the interest rates are crazy because you could just keep changing over and bouncing
yeah.
around.
And I mean, if you guys haven't come across this yet, I mean, I'm not going to be the first one to do that. I think you learn about what Bitcoin is, and then you learn a little bit about what Ethereum is, and then you learn about DeFi. And it's like, what the
Right.
opportunities are just crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like
definitely
that's why another reason I'm completely disconnected with cash now. 'Cause it's
right.
like stupid. I'd much rather have DAI.
Well, until we could actually use it to purchase things, that'll be, I mean, I don't know if it's there yet.
You just sell it back for USD shitcoin.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I know Coinbase is coming out with some sort of credit debit card or something like that, where maybe you could send it to that wallet. Now you're swiping a credit card, and then it's just taking out your DAI or something like that. That would even be, a better kind of thing where you could actually, instead of
Yeah.
selling it, because like now you sell it, I don't know how what the U.S. Uncle Sam considers that, because
What, as far as earning from it?
yeah, not even just earning, but like dollar, even though DAI is the same price, so like I mean it's harder to say capital gains, but like every time you're making transactions, it definitely becomes something that you have to think about at some point. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be worried about it now, but it's just like, everything gets so complicated. Like I mean, the government must be like going nuts about this stuff.
Yeah, but like
You're thinking just in
I'm
terms of being in America and American consumers too, and something when you were on the DAI, Greg, when you were on the DAI homepage earlier, it said like for everyone, for anything, anywhere, something along those lines.
yeah.
And I've read different things like in China and other countries that they're loving things like Tether because they can buy Tether and at least it's pegged to the dollar, and they never had that opportunity before to peg their currency as it was now to the dollar.
Yep.
Even though we're not thrilled here with the dollar, it's still worldwide is better than many of the other currencies. If you have a
Right.
stable coin pegged to that and they can access it through Uniswap easily, that gives them a great tool to use. And then how does the US government regulate that? What are they going to do?
Right.
You
Yep.
know, we'll see. They'll
Yes.
do something, I suppose.
So that's a whole nother lesson, is understanding the different types of stable coins, because they're not all created equal. Like USDT is not like DAI whatsoever, and USDT and DAI is not like USDC or whatever
Right.
that one is. They're
That's
all,
the Coinbase one, right?
I think so, yeah. So
Binance is BUSD. Yeah, I know what you mean.
they're all
I'm
different.
just
They
using Tether
all,
as the example because it was kind of the first one and made the most
yep.
popular, I suppose,
That's actually the most suspicious one, but
Yeah.
because it's like the oldest and most used, it's alive and thriving. That's why you saw the Bitcoin Binance, Bitcoin USDT chart. That's the one I do all my Bitcoin charting on, because they do $1 billion of 24-hour volume a day. It's the most volume of any Bitcoin pair, US dollar peg pair that there is. So that's the chart I follow. I go where the most action is to get the most accurate chart.
Yeah.
Um,
That's definitely crazy, man. Like I said, just the fact that you're earning interest and you're able to move your money around and
Yeah.
make your money work
Dude,
for you,
it's crazy, man. It's
be in your
like,
own bank, basically.
yeah, like, and then different things start going through your head, like get every freaking dime in the house off the couch or out of the house and into the
Yeah.
freaking DAI right now, so I can start
What?
earning money from it.
Right. Yeah.
Sell whatever you can. It's crazy how all this stuff makes you become like a serial saver.
Hey, that's a good thing though. I mean, that goes back to, I
Does.
guess, our first talk about, how interest rates were actually 6%. It made people want to save and it gave them reasons to, versus now, if you hold money, you're losing. You're losing bets. So you might as well, you're spending your money now. And then, you're buying useless crap probably, or you're going out to dinner probably more often than you should, and then next thing you know, like you don't really have much to like say like, oh, what did you get in 5 years? And you're like, oh, all this junk that I really don't need.
Yep.
But then where you're making, 8%, and next thing you know, you're looking like, oh wow, I have a good chunk of change. Now I can buy a vacation property,
Yeah.
or a nice car or something. And guess what? Most of that stuff, I didn't really earn it. Like it earned itself.
Right.
So that's the passive income thing, which is again like amazing.
No, I know you, and you're a big fan of that too. So I mean, definitely, I would recommend looking into this.
Yeah.
It's been flawless experience so far. It's just a matter of once you put your money into the DAI and it's really readily accessible and Bitcoin's moving up and it's like, just put everything in Bitcoin right now, you know? So
Yeah.
that still teases your brain. But you
Well,
just,
that's definitely gonna, the Bitcoin thing is always, because once Bitcoin moves, big mama Bitcoin, once that moves, everything.
But I read a tweet the other day. I was like, if you're not constantly worried about not having enough Bitcoin, then you don't understand Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
it's like, fuck, I'm always worried about that.
Yeah, and I'll actually get into that later. After Jeff tells his whole thing about what he's going on.
Yeah, but bottom line, as far as DeFi is concerned, I mean, MakerDAO, Yearn Finance, that's really all you need. Those are
Yeah.
the two platforms that you need. I mean, Curve is the big one, but what Yearn does as far as like adjusting it automatically to the best return DeFi platform that there is,
Right.
there's no reason that I could know right now to not use anything other than that. I do mess with the Fulcrum one as well, just because it's so easy, and I do like seeing that live run profit reel.
Right.
And they also
Now,
have the Ethereum vault and the Link vault, which you can.
can you also too, maybe later when we're done with this, is maybe put some links of all the places that you're using. So, if I even want to look at it, or anybody that's watching this right now wants to see and play around with that, they know exactly kind of where to go and kind of what to look at.
Yeah, for
That'd be
sure.
great. Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right.
we could touch more on this later.
Yeah, no,
Next week.
it seems like this stuff is just like tremendous of all the things you can do with it,
It's
and
a
as long as
it's a total game changer.
yeah, I mean, like when you see like some of those percentage rates, you go, wow, that's
I know.
like a shitty credit card that you're paying, except it's going for me. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't I want to sign up for that?
Yeah, and that and then with the wrapped Bitcoin, it's like, dang, it's like, what can you do with that? I've talked to some other hardcore maximalists that just responded to me on Twitter when I asked them about this stuff, and
Yeah,
like the hardcore maxis, they're kind of just like, it sounds cool, but like it's not old enough yet. Let it go for a couple of years, and then maybe I'll be interested in it. So
and that's definitely
that's the mature response.
right. Yeah, because you know what, you all of a sudden you have one wrapped Bitcoin and $16,000, and next thing you know, there's a glitch in the system, and then you go, oh, I don't have any wrapped Bitcoin anymore. It's
Yep.
gone.
So it's a
It's
high
like
risk. I'm riding a high risk right now, but it is what it is. I'm willing to play.
it's like the South Park thing, and it's gone.
And it's gone.
It's
Wait,
probably
what?
this
It's
YouTube
gone.
channel that'll be
Your
gone.
money, it's gone.
I know. It's gone. And it's
Your wrapped Bitcoin, and it's gone.
yeah.
It's a concern for sure. It makes me think so much though, like the crypto just gives us like the be your own bank idea. And I think Greg, just you talking about this kind of gave me even a little more clarity of the potential there. That I kind of compared it to fractional reserve banking.
Yep.
Is that bad or good? That's up for you to decide. But at least now we as normal everyday people can kind of take advantage of that system too by adding liquidity. You're taking on some risk, but then you're making a profit from that.
Yep.
Similar to the wrapped Bitcoin, that's almost like a gold ETF. You don't actually own gold. It's a derivative based on the price of gold, like the wrapped Bitcoin. Does it exist or not? Do you care? Are you making a profit? That's all it really is about at that point,
And wrapped Bitcoin can kind of be comparable to Robinhood Bitcoin or PayPal Bitcoin at this point, because I mean,
They say they have it, but
but
much better than that. I mean, have you guys tried wrapping Bitcoin?
no.
I mean, it's all verified on the Ethereum blockchain.
Right.
So it's just a smart contract. You're basically just locking up your Bitcoin in an Ethereum smart contract, and as a receipt, you get WBTC. And then with that WBTC, it's got an equivalent value to Bitcoin, and you could go into all the Ethereum DeFi platforms with that value of the Bitcoin now. So
and
it's not anything in my view like PayPal or Robinhood or anything like that. It's
I guess because you're still holding it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still holding like the private keys kind of thing. But
I could get my Bitcoin back from WBTC at any time. I could
Right.
buy WBTC with Ethereum or whatever, and I could get Bitcoin out of it. I could get it unwrapped.
Right. But now I wonder though, with Ethereum switching over to a proof of stake and with the sharding and stuff like that, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, if anything, if there's like, I'd be kind of concerned because now this is a new thing coming out. If there's some sort of glitch and, they have all these billion-dollar systems that are basically running on that, what's going to happen? I mean, or it could run better because I know once they have the sharding going in, the transactions are going to be faster and cheaper, and it's going to be, I forgot what the number was. Jeff, do you have any idea what the ETH2 is going to be at, or Greg, do you know?
The number of what? I'm sorry.
Like the transactions per second, like I think right now, what is Ethereum, like 15
Something like 15
or 30
yeah.
or so it's going to go from 30
remember.
to like thousands, or even millions and millions. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I can't say what it is because I guess there's not really, it's not there yet. We'll see what it's going to be in 2 years, but it's going to be interesting going back to Ethereum stuff. I mean, this basically podcast is mostly about so far Ethereum and everything kind of built on it, and it's actually amazing. Like you can see why a lot of these companies are going and building stuff on it too.
And governments,
Yeah.
the Australian central bank digital currency, they're building that on Ethereum.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I said, it's just so much. There's so much going on with it. You just
Yeah. And like I think Ethereum, in my view, has become just like fuel for the ecosystem.
Right.
It's just like, what's the price of gas for your car? What's the price of Ethereum today? It's so I look at it more as a utility than anything else.
Yeah, it's not more of a necessarily like a gold or like digital gold or a store of value, but more like its own ecosystem and applications and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
But it's been really freaking cool so far. So I'm a fan.
I'm definitely a fan of this too. I'm gonna have to probably start small and then
That's all it
get
takes. I started with a couple bucks, got like $5-10, and just saw how flawless the transacting was. You have to be willing to eat some gas fees, just to experiment and get comfortable with it. But once you do,
yeah. But you get those fees back once you start earning that interest, so it doesn't
yeah,
really matter.
especially in the
So,
early days when it was like 60-70%,
yeah,
after like a week, I was like right back. But,
yeah, that's right.
but it's been good. So check it out.
I definitely will. So we'll
Yeah,
have
that
to
was very
put that.
informative. Thanks for sharing all that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know. I showed my whole freaking MakerDAO account, but
Yeah, maybe we'll have to
We
help
can
some
edit
things
and
out.
blur certain things. you know?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
that wasn't an intent, but it is.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, Jeff, what you were looking at now?
Well, I was hoping to be able to demonstrate a trade, a leveraged Bitcoin trade to get away from Ethereum. I'm kind of sick about hearing about Ethereum from you guys for the rest of this episode. Just kidding. I just haven't been playing with. I've actually kind of, from when I started in crypto, it started like many people do with like the most worthless of coins because they were like a Dogecoin, worse.
Yeah.
But I've really consolidated all the way back to Bitcoin, and even in some of the coins I'm still interested in, I could always jump back in if I want to, but I just want to stay in Bitcoin right now.
I carefully monitor the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. That's just because like I'm watching that Ethereum stack just get whittled away by Bitcoin if I had it all in Bitcoin. So
you know what I've noticed since I ever heard about the 32 ETH for staking though? It's been approximately worth 1 Bitcoin for 32 ETH.
Yeah.
Varies a bit, but it's always been right about there since I've been paying attention.
Okay.
So if you're not thinking in dollar terms, you could think in your
I
Bitcoin terms, Greg.
I know. I'm just
that way.
seeing just Bitcoin just kill the value. But I mean, again, it's still up from September 2019. So it's not like it's dip below that. It's still on an upward trend since then.
Yeah, I think
anyway.
they'll all be moving together. That's
Up.
yeah. Hopefully. I mean, we'll see. Because right now, that 16,000 seems like it's like the support resistance area, you know, where it's just sitting there. So we'll see what happens, you know, if it breaks down, but it's just sitting at 16K. So I mean, that's good if it just stays flat like that for a while, and then we see something. But going back to what you got with that Chainlink and Bitcoin.
That's Chainlink versus Bitcoin. So this is why I hold a little bit of Link, is because since it was created, it's way up.
Yeah.
So
That's still in a solid uptrend. Yeah.
that's like 8,500% return since
Jeez.
December 2017. And then even something like what, Binance? Where are you, bitch? Binance? I don't know, but whatever. Where are you? Stop it. PNB.
Jeff, did your deposit come in yet?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem with Bitcoin. You know, it's very slow.
Usually
Damn,
not
what's
this slow.
going
It
on with
definitely
that?
should have been here by now. I don't know what happened. And I sent it from a different computer, so I'm just not going to bother trying to check right now to do like a live trade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's okay. I could still kind of show you guys what I've been doing at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, definitely.
you could show us a trade or something. Like what kind of trader are you?
Well,
What would you classify?
I just, speaking of DeFi, I was kind of mad at you guys because earlier this year I was spot trading altcoins and I was doing very well, including some of the, I guess you call them governance tokens like Aave, Compound, some of those other ones. They're available on Binance, so I was just trading them against Bitcoin, going very well. And I even knew it at the time. I doing some quick math in my head. I more than doubled my trading account in a few months, back in like late spring, early summer. Which was
Nice.
very exciting. It's been a long time, and failed trades and painful learning experiences. That was really good. And I was even looking like, this is looking too hot. Like I made good money. I feel like the bubble's about to burst, whatever it is, which it did. DeFi kind of deflated for a while,
Yep.
along with the rest of the market. Things just got very flat and boring for a while there. And I stayed in my trades too long, and I gave a lot of those profits back. Still in the green, so that was nice. But in the interest, like I said, I sold off a lot of my old coins when I first got started and kind of consolidated to Bitcoin. I thought, wouldn't it be easier just to track the price of Bitcoin and trade it? And I don't have to like chase this chart, chase that chart, what's hot, what's not. I could just trade the Bitcoin chart. Keep it very simple.
Exactly.
I don't have to think about it too much, just keep it all in one place. So I ended up over on Bybit, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that. I'm going to jump on a screen share now. The bad thing is it hasn't saved my charts. So I kind of just threw together some of the trades. Anyway, let me just start sharing here. Go for this. As you can see, I am unfunded from this account. But this is currently where we're at. These are two trades I did. So we had just broken above resistance here. And I entered back here approximately on this bounce. You guys can see this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I figured this was a good spot that I could set a pretty tight stop loss at the time. Again, I had to kind of recreate this chart. I think I set my stop loss just below these two areas here, assuming they would be support. Luckily, that wasn't an issue, which was nice. I went to sleep that night and I woke up. I had like a 5X. That was, it was a nice trade. But I sold out here where you see circled in this area because, it started consolidating. I didn't know what was going to happen. I took my profits. Then it shot all the way up here and I was kicking myself. Then it finally had this little pullback and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enter here. I had a little FOMO going on. I'm not going to lie to you, but I set a very tight stop loss at the time. I had to guess. I saw this deep wick down, and when it started coming back up, I probably entered around here and set my stop loss around here. And then it shot up again, and then I sold off again. That was a good day. I paid.
That's a good time to sell right there, man. Perfect.
Now, I really nailed the top on this one. That was a lucky. that was a lucky one. I don't have the RSI up here either. I should take some more notes about some of these trades. I'll start doing that in the future so I could really lay out what I was thinking at the time for you guys and stuff. But that was a good one. That was within a 24-hour period in that trading account. I made like a 35% profit
On Bitcoin
Nice.
too. So
on
that's even
Bitcoin.
better.
Which
That's
then over here, the FOMO still was set in. And I tried to force a trade, and I gave some of that back over here when this dumped. But I had a stop loss in, so I didn't give a ton of it back. But then I was like, all right, hands off for a while, walk away, go to the gym, reset my mind, and let me come back to this like starting new.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed something I do is like, you want to keep going with the greed, or then there's revenge trading, which I've been a victim of. Like over here where I lost some, you're like, oh man, I really want to make that back. And you're trying to force trades, at least for myself. Never goes well. So,
Yeah.
So then I reset and I just started kind of looking back at it the last few days. Obviously, I got interested again once we started poking our head above 16,000. So you see, I drew this little wedge here I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, is that right now? So it looks like
This is live. Yeah, this is live on Bybit.
So we might see something break out at some point. You think?
It's
in an
literally at
equilibrium pattern right now.
16,050 right now.
It's
the
a
price
what?
over here. It's at $16,050
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
I see the price, but I'm just talking about the actual move when it gets out of that triangle.
Yep.
That's something I'll watch. To me, that's like I started out as like following breakout traders. That's not a good way to trade. It can be something you use, like breaking out of a pattern is a good sign, but really, like I want to see 16,000 become support on a higher time frame before I really want to commit to something.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the next move from up there could be just like the same thing you had when you bought and made those profits, because it looks like it's very similar, I think. I mean,
You know what I like about what I'll try to line up? What's nice about this is you see where the pattern's coming in on this top trend line, call it resistance, and we're at 16,000 right now, which I'd like to be support. If this breaks above this trend line, that allows me to set a pretty tight stop loss. The trend line and the support at 16,000 potentially. So I like that. That's two things kind of lining up to kind of give me a level to set a stop loss at, potentially down below these couple of wicks here.
It's classic pattern trading.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I know now because I learned pattern trading in 2018 in a downtrend. So those triangles and stuff don't break to the upside. So I kept losing these little bits every time. But now we're in a strong uptrend. The macro's there. We're in an uptrend. The 4-year cycle's in my favor. So I feel like I'm trading in my favor right now.
It definitely seems like every little dip is getting eaten up.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting that vibe?
Yeah.
Yeah, because go back to right before it really breaks out.
Here?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks a little similar. I mean, it's a little tighter there, but you know, I remember seeing before it made a breakout that they were saying it was a ascending wedge pattern or something like that, or descending wedge. I forgot. I mean, I'm not a big
I kind
trader.
of just keep redrawing the lines, and
Yeah.
I mean, you could call this what do we got? Oh, here. This.
Right.
You could look at that too. Depends on how you're trading it. You know, this today was just I was hoping to do a trade live, like, you know, and it would have just played out perfectly, and I make a quick little profit would have been nice. Because this is only the 30-minute time frame, and this is just a few little touches right here. You know, if you look at this on the 1 day, like it's not even there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the daily chart, we're on the third day, third inside bar, which just if you look at like the bar within the previous bar, you know you're creating an equilibrium.
Inside this green bar here, we're inside since then, pretty much.
Yeah. So as soon as you break out one of those ways, you could at least, you know, set a risk reward to the previous top, and then stop out to the low of the, you know, whatever the candle that's engulfing the previous one is.
You know what I really should do? Except I still want the excitement. It's just open along at like 2x. And that's part of what I wanted to show. If I set up, if you set up a trade, it'll show you your liquidation price, which I think right now, if you do a 2x, liquidation's around 10,700.
So if you're going to go 2x, there's an easier way to do that. On Binance, they have what's called BTC up or BTC down. Instead of getting liquidated, it's a 3x leveraged position that you could just buy straight up.
Have you used it?
I follow it. I haven't never bought it, but I don't really
I've
trade.
heard some bad things that there's not enough liquidity there, and that's why people actually use Bybit as a platform. And they
Well,
used to use
Bybit's,
BitMEX, but that's got issues right now too.
yeah, Bybit's definitely the place to go as far as leverage goes. You're right.
Which, like I said, I want to be able to walk away and just know if I have a stop loss set, it's going to trigger. If I have a target price set, it's going to trigger. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I am
And where
using
do
a VPN just to be, full disclosure, because
wonder
we're
if-
not allowed as New York Americans to do anything.
Yeah, New York is intense.
But
Yeah, but it's okay.
yeah,
You
I
can
figured
go
if
to,
especially now as we're entering this bull market, we're talking about prices like 50,000, 100,000, 288, whatever all these numbers are. But we're fairly certain it's going to go up. Even if you did a long, zero leverage, and just left it, and you could come back, and Bitcoin goes up 10x. This is also inverse perpetual, so I'm earning Bitcoin, not USD.
Yep.
Which is nice about Bybit. So that's what I should do with my trading account, and then I could really just walk away. And then the next time we feel like that blow off top is coming, just sell, and there you go. I made however much Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
I am still kind of chasing that excitement and looking for that. Like I had that win last week. That was nice. It felt good.
Yeah, I'm kind of over the trading, but it's not that I'm over it. I kind of found something to fill that desire that what you're talking about, like that urge for feeding of excitement. I started using a platform called 3 Commas. It's a
I'm aware of it. I
algo.
played with it a bit, but anyway, tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, it's freaking awesome. I mean, if I shared my screen real quick, you cannot share while someone else is, but I don't want to take your spotlight here.
Stopping sharing. Okay.
Yeah, so where am I here? You see the screen? So this is the dashboard. You can connect all your exchanges that you want on the one user interface. So if you have a Bybit account, a Coinbase account, a Gemini account, a Binance account, you could link them all up on here and see everything going on in your portfolio.
They have Bybit too on here?
Yeah, they do.
Interesting, because I know if you use 3 Commas, you don't need to use a VPN then because you're going through a different platform. You're not logging directly into Bybit. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
That's another layer that I like. Like, I don't ever have to sign into my exchange accounts. Just,
Yeah, I got to double check my VPN all the time, and yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I really love about 3 Commas is they have this grid bot here, which is freaking pretty sweet. I've been getting a little lazy over with this for the last couple of weeks or so, but I've been using this since August. And it really quenched my thirst for trading, because literally I just set up these bots, and you see all these buys and sells at the bottom of the screen here. Those are all automatically traded things that happen through the bot. And basically what it does is you pick like a range, a high and a low, and then you just chop it up into different pieces. Like I have it split up into 10 sections. And then basically, if I was to start this grid right up, it would end up right here, and it takes away whatever buy sell is at the current level, and then it will just wait until price moves to a buy, and that'll trigger to waiting, and then the one above it will turn to a sell. So it'll automatically just continue to change all the sells to buys as you hit them. Now, if you break out of the range, that's where you want to kind of set these up when you're in the middle of the grid,
right?
So that you don't want to just get washed out in a bear market if this just continues to tank and you just bought all this stuff and it's just getting ripped down here. But I like to see when the alts are moving to get in a grid and just sell on the way up, and then break out of the range, and you could either reset the range or whatnot. If it goes sideways, that's the best, because you're just eating profits all the time, doing nothing.
Did you set this bot up yourself, or was this one of the preloaded ones they have?
I think this might have been one of the bots themselves. So they have the AI strategy, which is literally just the previous week's high and low, and then they chop it up into 10 sections. Manual strategy, I mean, you could choose your high, your low, and you could choose the quantity of grids that you have. But that's not the only thing that this platform offers, you know. I mean, you could do all the smart trades. You could do all the trades that you're doing on Bybit just straight through here, but with even more options apparently, as far
Yeah,
as
I know you
setting
were
up.
able to, before Binance added their OCO orders, you were able to add like trailing stop losses and things like that using 3 commas. I've
Yeah,
played with it a bit before. I just haven't been
Yeah,
using it recently.
but it's
you have
it's
to pay fees to like, is there like a subscription fee or
I
something like
think
that?
yep,
Huobi's free. If
three
you trade
comma
on
structure.
Huobi or one of the other platforms like that, it's free. And maybe Binance, one or two of the platforms is free, I believe, using three
But three
commas.
commas, you actually have to pay, right?
Yeah, yeah, you pay for it.
What is that, monthly or?
I think I bought a year contract for like $400 or $500,
Uh,
but I made that back already, like by a lot. I mean, just this one grid that's been open since September 25th, and I've had a bunch of these grids. One, two, four. How many? I don't know how many transactions there are. There's probably like 25. I don't know,
huh.
This is like
but
how
that's like
MicroStrategy bought all their
that's
Bitcoin at the same price.
that's
Set
half.
up a bot.
Basically, this one bot has given me like half an Ethereum already. So, you know, that's
Wow.
$200. But you do it with all those 1.5%, 2% holdings that I have with Binance Coin or Link and Ethereum. I just pair those up, I grid them up, and just let it run. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
Where'd
don't
Jeff
really
go?
care as long as you use coins that you want more of each. You should be good.
Yeah.
Looks like Bitcoin's breaking out.
Right now?
Yeah.
Now I can't even get my funds to transfer.
Ugh. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, inside bar. You have this daily candle here. Yesterday was inside bar, and today we're inside. Just looking for a rip through the range. I'm a big Ichimoku cloud kind of trader guy. That's what all this jazz is. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Ichimoku indicator.
No.
There's this
I've
guy.
heard of it. I don't understand how it works at all. I try to keep
It's basically like a lot of indicators incorporated into like what you see there. Like even this red line is just a 50% fib level, so you don't have to constantly track that. Kind of that's where you would set your buy orders. You would expect it to fall back, but on a bull breakout, you're looking for four specific things, which it worked so beautifully on October 17th. It showed you the mega bull.
Is that
And
crossover there I see?
yeah, so there's four items. Basically, this is the lagging span. You look for the lagging span to be above the cloud. You look for the cloud to be green.
Mm-hmm.
You look for the price to be above the cloud, which it was at this time because this sets
Yeah.
how many days in advance? It's like 30. Yeah. So the cloud goes 30 units beyond what your chart is at. That's why this is at. So on October 17th, 30 days ahead, it was at November 16th. So November 16th. So basically, the cloud was horizontal. So we had a green cloud, price was above the cloud, the lagging span was above the cloud and the price. And then we were just waiting for this
Crossover.
T-Ken cross where the blue goes over the red.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was like, okay, boys, like everything, all gears ahead. We're freaking gonna go shoot out, and it actually worked.
That's what I should be looking at to set up like a 2x or 3x and just walk away for like a longer term trade,
Yeah, and this is on the daily chart. So I mean, you could go back in the history and double check kind of how things work out when all
The
four of those.
higher time frame looking. Go to weekly.
Yeah. I like to go to the 6-day chart just to change it up a little bit. And once we go there, I go to BLX, Brave New Coin Liquid Index. Kind of
Mhm.
combines all the indexes into one, and it has the most history. Um, but yeah, so in the weekly chart, green cloud, price above the cloud, lagging span above the cloud, and we had a TK cross in the cloud back in August. So
Yeah,
this,
see, that's something you could be careful of though. If you put a high leverage trade just using those indicators alone, that looks like a spot you could have gotten liquidated. It wasn't wrong.
where?
You see the cross looks like you were up around 11,000 and change, but then 2 or 3 weeks later we had a drop.
Well,
See what I mean?
this wouldn't have been a bull sign because back here, 30 days ahead,
I was still in red.
it was still red.
I
So,
see.
Needs
Okay.
to be green,
like,
right?
if you had the TK cross, that's just one indicator. So
So
you
you're
gotta
looking
go
for
back.
all four of those
Or
criteria you mentioned a
I could
minute
go
ago.
back actually. Yeah, I'll go back to this. Watch. You could replay it. So this is what we would have seen. So at that point in time, you had the TK cross. This just switched to green. Price is above.
Just broke. Yeah, I would have been all over that with the greed. I'm just saying
Hmm.
it's not wouldn't have been the right thing to do, but that's a mistake I could have seen myself making.
Yeah, I guess that
TA isn't everything. Got to put a stop loss and stuff.
this is giving you the 4 indicators. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm just
So
saying if that was a high leveraged move, you could have screwed yourself.
let's
But
see
if you
how
did
it.
like a 2x or a 0x, you would have been good.
Yeah, as this plays out, I would stop out under the cloud. That's where I would stop out based on my knowledge of this indicator. So it would have worked out pretty good, actually. Would have been up, I don't know, 40%.
I guess that's just for anyone listening though. Be careful going full send. Like all the criteria met, I would have been drooling over that trade, but don't hit like 10x or something ridiculous because something like that can happen.
I
And
mean, trading
you would have
Bitcoin
lost
itself.
everything.
Yeah, I don't mess with leverage.
Careful with leverage. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even really mess with trading too much. I just really enjoy charting. I love telling the story of Bitcoin through the chart. It's just fun to me. I don't know if it's just like a nerdy thing, but I could just chart all day long. That's why I found the cloud indicator just 'cause it's so fascinating. It's very popular in Japanese trading.
How about the name?
You know, even the different types of candlesticks, like they use the Heikin-Ashi candles, which look different than the standard candles. You could even use the Renko candles, which look completely different than everything that you've ever seen. But I've studied all these types of different candles and everything, and you kind of find your niche as a trader, right? You just have to find what works well for you and your personality. I go too crazy. That's my problem. I go too crazy because I just like to nerd out on charting.
You've actually inspired me to look a little more into the Ichimoto cloud. I've seen other traders and information sources that had using it, and I never really understood it. I try to keep it like super simple.
That's probably better off, just horizontal line trading. But if you were interested in this, there's this guy, his name's Josh Olszewicz. Maybe you remember he was like Bitcoin to 33K guy. He was a popular guy on crypto Twitter, but I'll send you his
Probably
info.
before my time.
I'll send you his YouTube channel, and he has like all the Ichimoku cloud reviews. That's kind of who I learned it from.
Okay.
Actually, going back to just before, remember we were talking about like wanting to just make sure you have and hold all your Bitcoin. So I was looking at some of my altcoins yesterday, and I decided to like get rid of like 20% or 25% of each coin that I was kind of like, I'm just kind of like had them for so long, and so it was 4 coins that I basically got rid of. Well, not got rid of completely, just took chunks out of it and put it into Bitcoin. So I got rid of some Neo, XRP, which it's funny. XRP is very fast, I have to say. Because remember you're going about, other thing, because I did XRP and Litecoin. And I sent them both, and like the Litecoin took forever. You know, I'm like sitting there like, when is this thing gonna go? You know, meanwhile, Litecoin like actually it's been doing pretty well. If you look at it, you know, the past week, it's been doing pretty good, even compared to Bitcoin. It's actually up, I think, 4% or 5%
Like
on Bitcoin.
Litecoin?
Litecoin, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably goes back to that PayPal thing, because when people see, oh, I can buy 0.01 Bitcoin, or I'll buy 3 Litecoin. People are like, oh, I'll just buy 3 Litecoin. You
That's
know.
exactly how I got started. Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be happening soon or whatever. But the funny thing was, not funny, but I have EOS, right? So it's just been, EOS has been straight flatlining the whole time. You know, like it's just been, to me, terrible. You know what I mean?
Especially compared to
So
everything else. Yeah, definitely.
right. So I'm looking at it, and then I like listened to some guy and on the thing we were talking about this, how he basically says like it's too complicated, like, and not that it's like complicated is bad, but it's like just to use. So I update my wallet, my EOS wallet, and I'm like, let me get rid of like, you know, a third of my EOS just because I went into Bitcoin. So I go to withdraw the money or the EOS, and I'm getting these errors. Oh, I don't have enough bandwidth. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this? Like what bandwidth? I just want to send like a third of my coins. So I'm looking into it, and they're like, oh, because you have to stake more to earn more bandwidth. And I'm like, really? So I added more to my stake, and then I tried sending again, and then it still came up, and I'm like, I just want to, and at that point, it got from I want to get rid of a third to a half, or maybe even all of them, because I'm like, if I want to use this and get liquidate it and get, you know, something for it, I should be able to do it whenever I want to, and not like, oh, I need to stake, and you have to stake for 24 hours, and if you stake for 24 hours, then you can send it over. Meanwhile, like, you know, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, this is just a little rant about EOS, and like, you know, why would they do this? Why would they make this so complicated? Just let me send it. Let me send it. Even if I have to pay a fee, I don't care. Just let me send it. Like, don't hold me up because I have to stake, you know, and I need bandwidth.
You also have to pay a fee. Can I jump in on this bashing EOS Fest, please?
Go ahead.
Because I was similarly thinking the same thing. Like, I haven't heard any news about EOS. Nothing going on after all the hype in the project and everything. I had gotten more into it, I suppose, than maybe you did at some point. I saw that staking earned you RAM and CPU, and I understand that allowed you to interact with the network. But
the guy's running for president, right?
Oh yeah, Larimer, right? Dan Larimer?
No, what's his face? Brock Pierce.
Oh, he's an EOS guy too.
Wait, Brock, is that the right Brock Pierce?
I think Dan.
It sounds right. But I got a bad taste in my mouth for EOS, so I don't care about those guys. But at any rate, I had been staking mine because even in the wallet I was using, there's a marketplace for RAM and CPU, and you can sell it. So there's Rex, they call it. There's like an exchange for that within the wallet. Yeah. Seemed cool at the time, and I was interested in learning about it. I actually know someone who was building an app on that. But it seemed to be, it's almost, in certain ways, I suppose, reminding me of like what you're talking about with ETH 2.0 with the staking. Like, it's a more involved process. I don't think it was meant for the lay person to be using. The EOS was supposed to be used behind the scenes to have apps moving tokens and things like that. Potentially DeFi, but I mean, I haven't heard anything going on with any of that. So I had to unstake my EOS. I could only do a little bit at a time because I'd have to let the RAM and the CPU recharge to unstake more, because even unstaking is a transaction on the blockchain.
Yeah.
So every day I've been going down, like taking another 5% off my stake just to get out of it.
It's just ridiculous, so that you have to go through all that, where if you want to just, you know, because what if like tomorrow, right, EOS goes to like $100 a coin or $1,000, and then you're like, oh, I got to get this off right now and throw it in an exchange. And it's like, no, you're locked out. You got to wait until you stake, and then you earn your, and I'm like,
but then even when you stake, it takes 3 days to unstake. you can't just withdraw it after you unstake. It takes 3 days.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
no, I can't be bothered. I've been talking about this episode. I've been trying to simplify and look at less and do less, and I don't need to deal with all that bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, and then and that's why Bitcoin's great, because Bitcoin is just, it's simple. I mean, it's you send it, you hold it, and that's it. I mean, what else is there? Obviously you could probably do more with that. Like I've heard people building on the network, but it's just, to me, like, then you go on like the news, you type in like EOS cryptocurrency, and you type news, and there's like no new news,
Crickets.
nothing. And even if it is new news, it's nothing good. It's nothing
Trash news.
And then didn't they have what was it? Voice, right? EOS did Voice, and
Platform
then that
exists.
was.
I haven't signed up for it.
But the thing is with that platform is like you got to give them your driver's license and stuff, and like
Oh,
I heard.
also, it does not run on the EOS blockchain. They created a new blockchain so that could run on it. So what's EOS even doing? And there's all kinds of governance issues there with like voting cartels, because there's only like 20-something validators. So it's not really decentralized. I don't know. I've had enough.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think like it went from selling like a third to almost selling all of it at this point, just because
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I got so frustrated. Like I went to do yesterday just to sell a third, and I got so frustrated doing this. And I'm sure like I can send the stuff now, but I had to go through all that. Where if let's just say if you wanted to and obviously you can't consider it, like a type of asset, like a store of value. At this point, I can't look at it like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're trying to build, but it's just sad because it had a big, they had raised so much money. Like they raised like what, $3 billion.
Or $4 billion plus, I think.
Yeah, and it's just sad to see something that and I heard they had issues with it being hacked or.
They may even move past these things, because like Ethereum got hacked and they survived it and they moved on. It just took a very long time. But I know what you mean. Like I'm not willing with EOS to keep up with all that. Ethereum makes more sense to keep up with because it's the first, what do they call it? It's the first one.
First mover advantage.
The first mover advantage.
Yeah, everyone's building out on it. It's like it's over.
On the smart contract. I mean,
it's over.
Yeah, look at all the ERC20 tokens when you're scrolling through, and you're like,
it's crazy.
It's exactly. So
you can create your own in a few minutes. Oh yeah, that's
maybe we'll like, make our own.
Cardano, I own a small position in, but like you said, I can set it up my wallet, staking, shut off my computer, walk away, and I earn rewards. I have to do nothing. I still have custody of the coins. Perfect. That's right.
And it's easy to use. Yeah. That's another thing. It's just they haven't really done much either. Like, compared to Ethereum, when you look at Cardano, it's like you don't really see anything that is being like you don't see that much being built on it right now. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at it recently.
No, it's really not.
So I mean, and I've always like thought that it could be good, and I mean, I'm glad that they finally have the staking thing, which is to me, again, just anything you're earning, and you're like, oh, you look, but what's their final goal? Like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to build?
Yeah, Bitcoin Max, you would say the fact that like they're moving from proof of work to proof of stake shows that it's like broke. Like, but not to say that it's broke, but it's kind of already doing a good job at what it is.
Yeah,
I'm personally not drawn to the whole staking thing whatsoever.
Right.
I feel like DeFi is doing a good enough job, but we'll see.
They're gonna have.
That makes sense. You're having success there already, and it seems like it's very easy for you to move to the more profitable position. So
yeah. So what the hell? Why? But you could earn on your Ethereum right now in DeFi.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to look into it. And like I said, we're gonna have to leave some of those links on the bottom of just what we were discussing and stuff like that, because a lot of those it seems like there's a lot.
Just set up some affiliate links. Throw 3 commas, Bybit on there,
Why not?
Yeah.
And Coinbase.
Help support the channel if you're watching our second episode.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could set up links for everything. 3 commas. Fucking
Yeah, it's something to start working on. Start building out our
The DeFi
graveyard
sites
brand.
don't have any kind of affiliations or anything. So
Because you're affiliated with only yourself at that point, because you are
I don't know.
doing everything, you know?
And that's what's cool too about all this stuff. It's like, what are we doing right now? It's just like three of us just talking because just passionate about the industry. But you know, someone called me like a Bitcoin salesman once. I guess they looked at like my profile and they saw some Bitcoin stuff and they were trying to like make fun of me. Oh, you're one of those Bitcoin salesmen. It's like you're
Well,
so fucking far gone from
it,
having any idea what this is.
well, it's better than being called a crypto fascist. That's what
Oh,
somebody
I
called
feel
me
like
on Twitter.
that was a
They
badge of
called me
honor
the
of yours.
crypto fascist. I was
yeah.
like, I like that. Crypto fascist. Oh
It's
man.
crazy, man.
Twitter's a fun place.
Twitter's a shitstorm palace.
Yeah, that's why I like it. Just like crypto, it's a shit show. Anything goes.
Well, no, Twitter anything doesn't go. Like I said, I've gotten
Yeah, that's
banned
true. Not
several
anymore.
times. So, you know,
Good for you.
yeah,
Congratulations.
but it sucks though, because then there's some times when you're banned and then you're like, you know, you want to like stuff that's pretty cool and like add to stuff, and then you're like, oh, you hit like, and it's like, no, you can't even like this. It's like, oh,
I
man.
know. What's his name? Richard Hart like blocked me or something because he's just always promoting that Hex coin.
Oh yeah,
And like apparently it's doing pretty good, and I just was randomly like just tired of hearing Hex all the time. I wrote like what is Hex? Is it some shit coin?
blocked.
And he blocked me. Like I wasn't even being really serious. I just was like annoyed and just sent like a stupid tweet and
Yeah.
blocked.
Oh,
Yeah,
those people got no patience for that. Wasn't Hex a
No.
fork of something?
I don't know.
no, Hex is a new thing.
I really like Richard Hart.
Oh, I think I was thinking of Haven or something like that. Was a fork of Steam after Justin Sun, like whatever the hell he did there.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there. Like I look at the list. Like I don't even go on CoinMarketCap anymore and look at the stuff because I'm just like, I don't know. I just buy Bitcoin. Basically, that's my main thing. I hold on to the alts that I got into like a while ago. I had my ETH, and I'm kind of just gonna keep getting Bitcoin and, like you said, earn and look at your satoshis as the real goal, as increasing that, not your dollars, because that's it. You know, like I was having like, I don't even know if I talked to you guys, but I was talking to my dad, you know, and I was telling him about the podcast. I was telling him also about like, oh, Bitcoin's really moving up, and he's like, sell some. I was like, what, are you out of your mind? He's like, and then, again, this is a guy that good trader, all that stuff, always making profits. And if I would have listened to him a couple years ago, maybe I actually would have done it right, because I would have, you know, again, but I said, you know, like I like the Michael Saylor approach when he says like, you talk about Apple 20 years ago, and it goes from whatever price, like, and it goes up 5%, 10%, and you sell it. Good for you. You made a profit. But then now you're buying it back and you're getting less of the amount, and it 100x's in 20 years. So, you know, to me, I don't look at it anymore as dollars and trying to make profits. I just want to keep getting Bitcoin, you know. And
Yeah.
obviously, if the price dumps and goes down, you know, you go like, oh no, it's down. I don't, you know. But like, part of you doesn't like that it's going down, but part of me also likes it because now I'm getting more for my buck. Because now, if you want to buy 1,000,000 satoshis, it's $160.
It's on sale.
You know, and that's supposedly a good price. Where fucking, you know, a couple months ago it was $100 gets me 1,000,000, and that to me was always nice. $100, 1,000,000. $100, 1,000,000. You know,
Yeah.
and that was great. Now, you know, and then what happens then when it goes to 20K? It's like $100 gets you 500,000. You
Yeah.
know, and then now imagine 100K, $100 gets you 100,000. You know, and it's like,
It's crazy. You're just seeing your salary just get washed away.
It was there's a Twitter account I follow. It's called This Is Bullish. That's usually all he tweets. This is bullish. He just throws that comment on like the Bitcoin tweets. It's pretty funny to me. But he posted something about buying the dip. So like, selling the peak and then buying in the valley, like, in a steady uptrend.
Mhm.
Right.
That's great
Yeah.
if you want to increase your USD, but as you're going up, you're lowering the amount of Bitcoin you have.
Mm.
And, all three of us are thinking more now, like, I want more Bitcoin. I don't care what the USD price is. 'Cause we're looking
Yeah, I
like down
cash
the
out.
road,
Yeah, you cash out in Bitcoin, and then when you want to trade, you could trade for USD.
That's why like Bybit has the inverse perpetual contracts because I'm earning Bitcoin trading on
Right.
leverage, not USD.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever used a stable coin for trading.
Yeah.
No tether?
Huh?
No tether?
No.
Yeah,
So
I only
I've been-
trade all pairs.
You're the biggest tether hater I've ever talked to. You're
I hate tether. I hate tether because
What do you hate more, tether or EOS?
tether.
What about tether on EOS? That's the
Ugh.
worst of all the tethers, anyway.
I don't know. I just my whole thing about the tether thing is every time like you go on Twitter and you see like this thing where like 100,000, 100 million are minted, and you're like, and people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna pump, and it's like, all right, but where did that come from? Like, I want to like,
Yeah.
and they're not allowing audits and shit. People are like, oh, let's audit the Fed, and it's like it's very similar. Now,
Yeah, it's like the
obviously,
quantitative easing of the crypto market.
right now, obviously, somebody's selling their Bitcoin for USDT, which again, it's like the same shit, like selling it for cash. I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather sell my Bitcoin for actual goods or something like.
Well, I think
Like,
there might be, kind of like I mentioned earlier, there might be some like geopolitical reasons that Tether is so successful too, because people in other countries now have access to the US dollar in a digital form.
Yeah.
And it's
I
still
just don't trust
safer
the
than their
brand.
deflationary currency, and they can actually take control of it at least. So there may be advantages there that we don't even comprehend because we just don't have to think about those things,
Right, and also for money transfers and stuff too, right? You could do that. It's probably cheaper than transferring money through like Western Union or something like that. So you could use, Tether to do such things. But again, I just don't like the fact that you're not, you don't see what's going on in the background. Like if
I
for
agree.
instance,
I
right?
definitely agree. Yeah.
If like let's say Chase Bank is buying Bitcoin, and the way they buy Bitcoin is they somehow purchased Tether and did it. That would be great. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there's just a lot of shady stuff going on. And then even with what was the guy Arthur Hayes, right? He got in trouble recently, or he's
The BitMEX
yeah.
founder, yeah.
And isn't BitMax associated with was it with Tether?
No.
No,
No,
who's
that's
associated with Tether?
Bitfinex.
State of
Bitfinex.
Delaware.
Okay, that's right, Bitfinex. But there's something about it that I don't like, and again, I'm not selling my Bitcoin for any USDT. I'd rather sell it for altcoins. At least they're there, even though I don't
Yeah.
want to do that anymore anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I'd rather sell it for DAI.
yeah,
So that's another, like I said before, you got to study. There's a good video that reviews the different types of stable coins. And like,
because DAI, is at least issued on the Ethereum
Collateralized,
blockchain, and
Yeah,
it's at least has, you could see it. You're auditing it, kind of, right?
Yep.
Versus Tether, you don't know what the hell's going on, and then there's Tether on Tron, right? And then there's Tether on,
Yeah.
it's like,
you don't know where the hell it's coming from.
yeah, it's like, is Justin Sun just printing out Tether and then buying Bitcoin with it and just becoming richer? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say that's
mean,
the biggest thing hurting this ecosystem is like whatever's going on with USDT Tether. Like, you don't know.
right. I mean, it's obviously pumping it, but at the same
Yeah.
rate.
You want to get rid of those dark holes in there. Like, I'm so happy there's no BitConnects or anything like that anymore.
You know what? One day we might be glad that USDT exists because it won't be a central bank digital currency. So there might be some features of that we appreciate in the future.
Yeah.
At least if it's a U.S. like if it was a central bank digital currency, at least if it was that, you can kind of have somebody like to be held responsible for doing something, even though the banks do this crap all the time. I mean, if you look, what was it in 2008? They were fined over 300 billion, or like it was a lot of billions of dollars. All these banks were fined, But I don't know. Like I said, I always wonder about the tether thing. And then like if you ever look at the thing on Twitter, and whenever they mint it, there's a guy, I forgot his name, but he always posts the same comment. You know what I'm talking about?
This is bullish.
No, I'll find it real quick. There's a guy that I think is like, it's like Pablo or something. But it just drives me crazy because it's like he's like, it seems like I think he's real, but he's like a bot, and he always says, "Oh, this is replenishing the network. Nothing was really issued here." Blah blah blah. And it's like, I don't know, man. This sounds just weird and shady, and I don't like this kind of stuff. I want it like there's a reason that you're trying to get away from that kind of system, you know. But and especially for people that don't know about Bitcoin or anything, where you know you have people that are like, oh, it can get hacked, or oh, they use that to buy like illicit items, and it's, you know, it's used in the dark web, like, because you know, like that was a thing recently. I don't know if you saw, which is kind of interesting. There was a senator from Wyoming. Her name is Cynthia Loomis.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard of her.
She was on CNBC, right?
I don't know if she was on CNBC, but
Yes, she was.
so she is like the first senator that's really come out like pro Bitcoin. She's like, I've been buying it since 2013. I have pension funds in it and stuff like that. You know.
She was a treasurer for something, right?
Yeah.
And she had to figure out like what to do with the money. Like, what are we doing? So.
Right. But the funny thing is though, as she's talking about it, the person interviewing her right away goes like, oh, but you know, isn't Bitcoin used for like illicit things and that? And it's like, well, so is the dollars.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
classic
saying,
the classic phrases that they always say.
Right. So that scares away the people that aren't really ready to pull the trigger and buy Bitcoin, or they're looking at it, but there's always something that they're scared, you know, that they're going to put their money into something that, you know, also the ban talk, right? Like Ray Dalio is saying that, like, you know, he isn't sure about Bitcoin because governments can ban it. But then if you look, like, yeah, if they ban it, it would be really hard to do, you know, just because it's like, what's the thing that people use to copyright the movie, to download the movies? What the hell is that called? The piracy thing.
Pirate.
BitTorrent.
BitTorrent. Yeah, it's like BitTorrent's highly illegal, but it's still going on. It's still
Doesn't
there.
stop. You would need a universal coalition of all governments in the world to unite and band it together.
Right, and that's probably not going to happen because
No.
certain governments are already on board with this stuff. You know.
Exactly, because and that's the thing. You drive away capital when you ban something to the places that accept it. And
I don't think it
they
could
get
last.
to
I mean,
growth
sorry, I didn't mean to be interrupting.
No.
I know it was illegal to own gold in the U.S. for a while. Robert Kiyosaki talks about that. So it's,
Yeah, in the 30s.
I would say, like,
1933.
I've heard your concerns about Tether for some time, and they're reasonable concerns. But I feel like the market would recover. It would take a punch in the stomach, but you know, we'd survive it with Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was like a bigger fear of mine. That's like in the U.S. it would be made illegal, and then there's the argument that it's not confiscatable, but that doesn't mean they can't throw me in a cage if they choose to.
The
FBI
I really
prefers
don't
you to
see
use it.
that happening at this point, especially Wyoming is granting banking licenses for, you know what I mean? I can't see that happening at this point.
Well, now that big money's buying it, that's going to change everything, because that big money's, they're going to pay these senators and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, it's just inevitable that it's going to take off.
Yeah, I think the FBI would much prefer people to use Bitcoin for criminal transactions, right?
Yeah, they could trace it a lot easier.
They could
The
trace the
USDC
freaking
coin that they come up with.
thing. Yeah. So
Well,
the cash
until
argument doesn't make sense on any front.
though they make a privacy item on it, because that's what they talk about with Litecoin. That Litecoin is working on Mimblewimble, which is like a privacy-based. I don't know what you want to call it, but it
Eliminates the
at
whole
some-
transaction history. You get the Genesis block and where it sits currently, but nothing in between.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that Litecoin is basically like a copy of Bitcoin in a sense, where it was like even used as a test net and stuff like that. So at some point, if things do get to the point where like Greg is saying that, the government likes people when they use Bitcoin because they can track it easier. And all of a sudden now, let's just say people go, you know what, we're done being tracked, and they switch over to like the Litecoin Mimblewimble thing, and next thing you know, Bitcoin becomes has a privacy feature built into it. So maybe if you want to do that, I don't know, because that's an issue, right? Where let's say they're dirty coins, right? Meaning, like, let's say you buy somebody, like, you got a friend and he has Bitcoin and he got it from somebody and they got it from somebody, but that person before that, those coins were in somebody's hands from like North Korea, right? And they're, it doesn't even have to be like Kim Jong-un. It could just be a North Korean
Pass through
citizen.
North Korean IP address or something.
Right. And that next thing you know, like, those coins are tainted, and now it falls into your lap and you have them. And then like I think Coinbase was even doing this. I don't know if but they were basically blocking or acceptance from certain coins,
Certain wallets.
Yeah, or something like that. Where,
It would have to be from wallets.
Yeah.
You can look up. The FBI has a blacklist of Bitcoin addresses. You can look it up. There's a link you can look up.
Yeah, so you could freeze those wallets, and then if anyone ever, you could say like, oh, I got in a boating accident, lost my seed phrase. Well, I mean, now you're holding on to that forever, because the second you move something out of there, it's gonna hit an alarm.
Someone found my seed phrase in the bottom of a lake. Don't look at my new car over there.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of, I'm as anti-government as anybody, but I mean, I'll play ball with them as long as I see technology just kind of erasing some of their features anyway. So I'll walk with them until they're just completely gone.
As long as it's fair, they got to be fair and not overstep their authority, which is kind of.
I think like Greg's point seems like it'll get to the point where it's going to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like the DeFi you're looking at now, like obviously it's a little more of the Wild West, but now who needs a bank anymore?
The banks are done.
You don't need a bank anymore.
Finance,
and then you're talking about the governance tokens. The governance tokens controlling those projects, they'll be similar blockchain kind of projects that kind of replace different aspects of government.
Yep. But now you could just be a little guy and be involved and be connected.
Well, the one thing though with the banks, and I see that there could be a future for certain banks, is maybe for custody, where let's say you have whatever the amount, and because maybe you want to set up trust funds or something like that, or something for your kids, where.
That's why they're getting licenses to be able to be custodians for it.
Right.
They're going to go back to what banks are supposed to be.
Right.
The security for your wealth.
Right. And that would be good, where you could like store maybe, 25% in this bank of your funds. So if something happens, you still have it there, and you don't have to worry about anything. And maybe it's even what do you call it? Like it's insured, where something happens, they're responsible for it.
And all those things have already popped up by independent companies that are new, right?
It's getting there. But you wonder if the big banks like the Chase or whatever, Bank of America.
I'm not rooting for them, but I mean, they're gonna try.
Well, it's either.
Hope you guys don't mind. I just popped this on here, but I saw this link earlier today, and it kind of speaks to what you're talking about, Matt. Centralized finance and decentralized finance. Not everyone's going to want to do what Greg is doing, even if it's super easy.
Yeah,
so you will have businesses or banks or whatever you'd like to call them managing that for you, Yeah.
Well, the way I put it is similar to what Michael Saylor said, that we have two wars going on, and the only way you have paradigm shift acceptance is during war, unless the other alternative is the old generations to die out. But other than that, paradigm shifts are accepted during war. So it will be interesting to see what happens with the actual dollar itself. Like I see it being evaporated before our eyes, and that's the reason why I love these charts. I mean, just look at this fucking chart. If you look at the money, no, this is the. Are you familiar with like the money velocity? Does that ring any bell to you at all?
I know what it means. I don't know about a chart.
Yeah, so you have like the M1 chart, right? This is the money supply. Each candlestick represents a month.
Mhm.
You're seeing this chart?
Yeah, we added
Yeah.
30% this year. Yeah.
Okay, where are we? I just want to make sure. 'Cause I
So
think
you
in
have
my,
a thing set up for COVID when they were doing those.
yeah, well, I still have one. I have a COVID kind of list of things with the rates and everything, but where am I? So money supply.
Oof.
Okay. This vertical magenta is September 2001. This dotted line is the financial crisis, October 2008.
Been
Okay.
uphill ever since then.
Jesus. Yeah. No, it's insane.
Never
This
stopped.
takeoff,
Never stopped growing.
This big pop right here was the March 2020.
And you know
And-
what?
But wait a second, because this next chart is where you see.
What is
the
that? A
full
Bollinger
picture.
Band?
Yeah, this is a Bollinger Band with a couple moving averages.
Hmm.
The money velocity.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
this is why you don't see much changes in the prices of things, is because the money is just going to the super rich or super wealthy, and
Staying there.
they're just reinvesting it. The
Yeah.
money's not getting
Stock
to
market.
anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not getting anywhere. So the only way to get money to the lowest section of people is to give it to them.
And they're
that's
not
what-
doing that because
that's
they're
what
just bailing
stimulus
out all these
does.
corporations and stuff.
Exactly. So, I mean, I see the government kind of trying to push for this full-on socialism stuff because the money system's collapsing. And my personal view, and not to get into the world views of stuff, but all this chaos that we see in the world is because the money supply is failing. It's, in my view, it's all because of the monetary policy failing.
Mm.
And everything else just kind of like a way to try to get some throttle valves to control the transition of whatever's going to happen, because it's going to be terrible.
I agree with that. I mean, that's why everybody says Bitcoin fixes this, right? I mean, they're not just saying it just to say it. It actually
And this
does.
is why this is the chart that it fixes, right?
Yeah.
Because the system is breaking and it's kind of at an all-time halt. It can't go much lower than this unless you start going into all that negative interest rate stuff, which
That's going to happen.
Which works for European countries and Japan and other countries that are not the U.S. Why is that? Because 80% of the global trade is settled in U.S. dollars.
And that's where the argument comes in that Bitcoin will replace the U.S. dollar in that aspect. Maybe not as everyday currency, but in the reserve currency sense, yes.
Global reserve currency.
So you can't have 80%, failing money that is 80% of the world's settled transactions. Once the U.S. dollar starts falling apart, the whole system crumbles. So how do you get ready for that? I mean, COVID's convenient because it's stealing our freedom of movement. People aren't allowed to move.
And also with, because like, I don't, again, we're not trying to make this very political, but a lot of times this this stuff is political because it's basically these politicians are part of what's going on with this right here. And let's say Biden gets in, they have a lockdown, but a nationwide lockdown, because he says no, he says yes, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And now there's a nationwide lockdown. A lot of people can't work. People are stuck in their homes. And then they go, well, we need money. And the government says, okay, we're going to get a stimulus bill. And next thing you know, your the chart that you had before, it's just going to spike astronomically. And, or the other one's going to go down even, to the bottom. And that's
like, how high can this go?
That's what people say. I'm like, Bitcoin can never be in a year 100,000, and it's like, well, all the stuff that's going on, like, it could be even higher because nobody really saw that this COVID thing was going to set everything into hyperdrive. Like, it just
It's crazy, man. But again, the charts don't lie. It tells you the picture, and anyone with half a brain could just look at that and see there's an anomaly.
You know, it's funny looking at that initial claims unemployment chart, and I saw your support and resistance lines there. Like,
Yeah,
from a trader's mind, I'm like, well, it looks like we might get a bounce soon. But also, the COVID numbers are going up too, so like, we actually literally might get a bounce soon off of that.
that's
Yeah, our
funny.
lines.
Yeah.
We're due for coming down for the retest.
This previous peak here was the
Unemployment move.
March. Yeah, March 2009.